Hi everybody, this is my first ever YouTube video and I'm calling it Take One, even if this might be my 50th time that I'm doing this. So I'm just going to start out telling you a little bit about myself. I've been interested in arts and any kind of craft my entire life. I've been sewing since age 7. My mother taught me how to sew on a little sewing machine I got for Christmas that year, and I really wish I had that sewing machine yet, but sadly it's gone. I've been knitting and crocheting since grade school. I fell into paper crafting about 15 years ago. I received a handmade card from someone that I absolutely loved, and I thought, well, I can do this. This would be a lot of fun. And besides that, I could save a few dollars on buying those store-bought cards. Chuckle, chuckle, here I am, probably thousands of dollars of craft supplies later, but I absolutely love working with paper. And I also love combining paper and fabric because those are my two loves. I've been collecting ephemera forever. I love anything that's old and vintagey, especially paper, fabric. What else do I collect? Old embroidery, any of those kinds of things. I've collected them for years. I really appreciate them for what they are, not always knowing what I'm going to do with them. And I've been buying junk journals for years, but I really never knew that that's what they were called, and never really thought about making them myself. I like to do art collaging and art mixed media art journaling, so I've been doing that in other people's journals. But about 8 months ago, I came across a YouTube video about how to construct a junk journal, and I've been absolutely immersed and hooked ever since. And so I've been spending the last few months making some journals, and they've been piling up. So I thought, okay, maybe I'll try to get rid of a few of them, which I think requires YouTube videoing, which scares me to death. I have to say, I'm afraid to move because I'm afraid my camera's gonna fall. And I keep looking at my hands, wondering when I stole my grandma's hands. So it's very intimidating, but I'm going to give it a try. The first 2 journals I've already got out on my Etsy shop. I've linked it below. It's called TheJournalocityShop. And I started out with 2 Alice in Wonderland themed journals. I thought that would be something simple to kind of follow, stick to a theme. They're not in-your-face Alice in Wonderland journals. There are little bits and pieces in there, but not every single page. They both have kind of a vintage, I love botanicals, so with kind of the botanical vintage feel to them. But I'll start going through them. So start with the first one. This is what I'm calling Alice in Wonderland number 1, so original. It comes with a velvet ribbon as the closure. I've been making all of my journals from old book covers. So this one is a really nice worn black one. It's called The Mystery of Burleigh Manor. And I just kept all the nice shabbiness. I did reinforce the spine. I always reinforce the spines 9 times out of 10. They need a little bit extra. So I just want to make sure they're nice and sturdy and they're not going anywhere. I did cover this one with an Alice in Wonderland book image. I've been collecting Alice books for a long time. I've got probably between 50 and 100 books. So I did deconstruct some of them and include book pages in some of the journals that I've made. So if we go inside the front cover, I've used a pretty graphics fairy end page. And throughout the signatures, I've used some pattern paper, scrapbooking paper. In this first little pocket, I've got a couple of journaling cards. This is an image from an old children's book. These images I got from Style 24 Designs. I really like, they've got a lot of nice botanical type images in their digital kits. And this is just covered with washi tape. I do coffee dye a lot of my pages. I like that old look. So this is graph paper that's been coffee dyed. Here I have a little tuck spot that's been stitched. Got an extra piece of paper on there, and that's been paper punched, an Alice stamp, some scrapbooking paper. Here I've got a couple of journaling cards. This is actually a vintage piece of ephemera that I came across, Avoid Verbal Instructions from 1958. Some stamping, coffee dyed paper. This is an altered envelope that I made. I covered it in an old, I think it was 1909 newspaper, and some pattern paper. I cut the ends and made a couple of tags. I've got a couple of images here from Shabby Dabby Doodah, and some washi tape, some old adding machine tape. I hope I'm allowing you to see this okay. I made some tabs out of old ticket and old price tag. and the backs are just covered with some patterned paper. In the center of the signature, I've got some old beads that I put on there. And I do use wax linen thread on all my signatures. I'll do either a 3 or a 5 hole stitch. I did take pieces of some of the Alice in Wonderland books and put them into the journals. Here's a quote from one of the pages. There's a tuck spot, stitched again on top. Curiouser and curiouser. The second signature, I have a pocket that is made from some Graphics Fairy images. I have some Alice in Wonderland playing cards, so I back them with paper and stitch that on. And this is an image of an Alice in Wonderland library card. Some lined coffee stained paper, botanical page. This is an actual page from an Alice book, and I reinforced it with washi tape. This is an illustration that I got from a book at the local vintage shop, and it's a really neat book. It's called Old London, and it's got a lot of neat pictures in it. And I just included some of these in the Alice books because I just imagined these would be some places that she would go visit. This is an Alice in Wonderland book page. Botanical. Here I've got a couple of journaling cards. Again, those plant cards from Sale 24 Designs. This is an Artie Mays image. And then I just backed it with an Alice book page. Stamp. Next signature. A little, I don't know if this is a flip up or a tip up. I'm not sure. But anyway, this is on vellum paper, washi tape, stamped underneath, so you can do some journaling under there. I've got a dictionary page, and I tried for these books to get the pages that would correspond to the theme. So Wonderland is on this page. And on this side, I made a pocket, stitched some sari silk on there, reinforced the edge with some paper and stamping. This is a Graphics Fairy image, and I just backed it with some ledger paper. This is a book page from a typing book, washi tape image. And on this side, I have a pocket with a couple of journaling cards and ephemera pieces. In the center of the signature, I just punched out a couple little buckles, tied those on. And here I included an envelope that I made from an Edith Holden book page. Put some washi tape on there and some metal filigree, I guess it's called, which is an embellishment. And then on the next page, I've got, again, some little tags with some vintage lace and botanical images. On this side, I actually found this pressed flower in an old French dictionary. It was over 100 years old, so I'm imagining this was pressed in there for at least 100 years. Maybe it was 10, but I think it was 100. And I like to think that I just brought it back into the light of day. So I sandwiched that in between some shelf lining paper and some pattern paper. I've got coffee dyeing on the back. This is a scan of an old Alice book that I have, probably from the late 1800s. And backed it with digital image, and then another card that I made. I'm probably not showing this very well. Then on this side, I've got another tag with some old lace, old French advertising, botanical on vellum. And then I have some lady images in here that I put on tags. These are from Shabby Dabby Doodah. Just added a little embellishment on the bottom. Alice page, just a little bit of collaging on there. On this page, I actually made a little cuff and folded that under, stitched it into a pocket. On the top, I've got a glassine bag that I embossed and put a couple of tags in there. And then on here, I found a really old, I think it was from early 1900s, called Smiley's Cookbook. It was a really nice book. I have to get through that yet, but this was the title page, so I scanned that and put that in there. Put a nice little Cheshire cat on a shelf over here. In this pocket, I've got a vintage sheet music, and I made a tag with some digital images, label. Did a paper ruffle, stitched that on. I got some paper packs. They're called Flans paper from, I think they're from Australia. Really neat, bright, vibrant, colorful pack. They are shiny, so in some instances I left them shiny. In other cases I covered this with clear gesso so that it would become matte. Stamping. On this page I made a fabric pocket. It's actually paper, but it's covered with fabric. Did some stitching. Have a bird image on vellum. And then I made, as a nod to the rabbit, a pocket watch made from an optometrist's lens, and I just put some watch images on those, on both sides of that. And in the pocket I've got some tags with velvet tabs on the top, and a couple of Alice in Wonderland playing cards backed with paper. This is a book page from an Alice book, and I reinforced it with some washi. This is a botanical book page that I coffee dyed, and in the center here I made an envelope out of parchment paper, stitched on paper trim there, and coffee dyed it. And inside I have a couple of those plant cards again. On this page, since I love to sew and do stitching, you'll find in my journals that I do a fair amount of stitching. Again, as kind of an ode to the rabbit and the tea party, I thought I would stitch a tab on here just to make the page fit, and make it look like the front of a men's dress shirt. So it's kind of a placket, and then I put buttons on there. And you can see the extra stitching on the back side. And I just kind of left the threads there. On this side, I made an old map and finished it with some wax, so it feels like a really old waxy map with a tab on, and journal on the back side of that. And here's a tab, velvet ribbon, tag, and then some ephemera paper on the back. Reinforced this edge of the music page with some pretty heavy cardstock, and then covered it with some washi. And the last page is an Alice stamp, and that brings us to the end of that one. That's Alice in Wonderland 1. And then the second one, let's see if I can get this in here. Okay, this was also, I've got a Sari silk ribbon closure on this one. And I also made this from an old book. It's called The Curly Tops at Happy House. I love that title. And again, it's just a nice old worn book. And I love the sizes of these. They're all around 5 by 7. They fit nicely in your hands. I covered this one with some pattern paper and gave it a nice wax finish also, so that it will be preserved. Also reinforced the spine. I didn't mention in the last one, that was a 4-signature journal. This is a 3-signature journal. I have pattern paper for the end paper. The first signature. Got some journaling cards, some graphics fairy images with some old lace on it. And a botanical, a little bit of lace and paper collaging on the back. And then this one has a bird and some ledger paper and a little bit of stamping. On this side, I've got a small card, again, a little bit of paper collaging on the back. And in this journal, I've used the Arthur Rackham illustrations, which I absolutely love. I just think they're so kind of mystical and whimsical. And I love the coloration in those too. Got a music page, and then some ephemera with some pattern paper. This is a little belly band on there actually, so you could stick something in there if you wanted to, a little note. This one I used some trim, tapestry trim, that's what I was trying to think of. An Alice image, and then some graph paper in the back. This is a Mackie stamp image. I love the Mackie stamps. This is a page from one of the Alice books. And then in the center of the signature, I've got a little piece of ledger paper, and this I actually beat dyed. And it was yellow ledger paper with the beat dyeing turns into just this luscious melon color. I love it. I'm gonna have to make some more of that again, but really love the coloration on that. And then this has a nice little bird image, the belly band, some graph paper, and then I just added a couple of paper embellishments in the center. Book pages again are reinforced with washi tape. Here I have some cards made from old, very old playing card images, backed in with pattern paper, botanical image, and then here's just a little quote from an actual book page from one of the books, and then here's another Alice image. I think they're so neat. And some collaging on the back of that tag. In this pocket, I have a couple tags. I really love the way these turned out. This is the Cheshire Cat with the little silk ruffle on the side, and then it's just backed again with the ruffle, and then some paper. This is Luna Rosu. I think I'm saying that right. She's got some nice digital kits too. Punch that out on the bottom, and then this tag, ledger paper, and then a doily on top and some velvet trim. Here's just a little tuck spot that I made from a stamp image. This is a card from Graphics Fairy image, and there's some ribbon stapled on there and paper in the back. Quote. Just some little cards that you can journal on. This is an authentic vintage library card. On this side, I love the way this belly band turned out. It's a geek image with some birds on there. And then I put in there, I made a card from a photo of Charles Dodson, the author of Alice in Wonderland, and the original real life Alice. I think that's such a cool picture. And I just backed it with a postcard image and a vintage stamp. And then this is just, again, some of that beat dyed ledger paper. The next signature, I've got a little collage here with lace and book spine pieces, and chandelier image and some washi tape. Some cards here that you can use for journaling. And then this is more of a floating pocket. I did some embossing on the back, some cheesecloth on the edge, and then that's just a botanical image on the back on an Alice book page. And then again, the other side. On this page, I've got a little belly band made from a mat piece in there with some washi and some stamping. And then again, some cards, the Arthur Rackham image, backed with a stamp and a map, and then a piece of dictionary page. Got a nice little image on there. Book page. This has a journaling card, a little stamping on the back, stamping on the page, little jagged tuck spot there. In these pockets, I have a bookmark image. I've been using some textile images from an old French textile book. It's really neat. I got it out in the public domain, and I've been incorporating those in a number of journals. It has some really neat textile images, and I think this is actually an embroidery pattern or something. But I need some journaling cards and a piece of botanical book page. Some stamping, Mackie stamp again, and this one I'm not sure what that is. This is a piece from that French textile book that I was talking about. And this is just a journaling card with some punching. And again, a wonderful image. I think this is Arthur Rackham also, but looks like the Tea Party perhaps. Again, another card, off with her head. I think that's what she's saying. This is a map. And then a little stamped envelope with, again, some old playing cards in there that can be used for journaling. And then stamped image on here. And then this signature I covered with this old piece of embroidered linen. I just love it. The colors are so muted and pretty. And then I folded it over on this side so it actually does form a tuck spot there also. And this page was folded to form a tuck spot on the top and on the bottom. And then again, has some journaling cards, image from one of the books. This one, I have to say, reminds me of Alice sitting with her mother reading a book. And I thought about that with this other mother and daughter image too that I had in here, just sitting and reading the book. I try to incorporate, when I have dictionary pages, something that goes with the theme. So there is that Cheshire Cat. It also has some other pretty images in there. Coffee dyed paper. Here is a page made from a nautical map. I just love the colors in it. I'll be sad when that's gone. I got a couple journaling cards in there, some collaging on there. On this page, I did some more stitching. I actually seamed the page to make it fit. So I made it just like a garment and finished off the edges with some punching. And this is French textile book again, backed with an Alice in Wonderland book page. And then these just form some couple extra tucks in the page as well. On this side, got a little tuck spot here, a Mackie stamp. This is an image from a book called Old Clocks and Watches and Their Makers, and I finished it off with some beeswax, so it's got a nice waxy finish on it, just like that. And then here's another Alice book image, and a little stenciling and stamping on the back of that one. In this center, I just put a couple little tags on there made from the ledger paper. Over here, I love the way this bird image fits with the page. The colors match nicely. And this letter is it's an envelope. And I have to tell you about this paper. I thought I would try staining with blueberries. And I don't even remember how I did this anymore. It was a combination of coffee and blueberries, but it was a mess and it was time consuming, so I'll never do it again. But I really love the way the paper turned out. I just think it's so pretty. It's got kind of a purpley blue color on there. Backside of that page, and then here a couple more journaling pages again. This is backed with an actual book page from one of the Alice books. Here again, a couple of journaling cards that are collaged. And then on the side I had a few more clipped on there as well. Just some stamped and botanical image. Another image from the book. Dictionary page. And back here I have an image of the real Alice again. This is a photo of her. I kind of made it into a cabinet card. An image on the back. And then this is washi tape and a couple tuck spots on that sheet. And that takes us to the end of that one. So my first two journals, Alice themed. Thank you for watching. I hope you like them. I have more journals coming up. I've got actually a couple more Alice journals. I've got a garden themed journal. I've got several botanical journals that I've made, and I'm working on a couple more. So more to come, hopefully. Thank you for watching. Bye.